An ESPN The Zone, and we have got a ton of stuff to get through on this Friday morning, and we're going to talk a lot of good stuff. We're going to get you ready for the high school football night, another slate of high school football games, non-region games, pretty much all around the area tonight. We've got your college football. We're going to get you ready for another busy day of SEC football tomorrow. And the thing that is going on right now, in fact, it is going to start in about 60 seconds, if not already underway over there. And if you've seen any of the early morning video, if you've seen any of the early morning pictures, it has been fantastic. And that is the Ryder Cup getting underway in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Now, I have been to Sheboygan. That's Whistling Straits is the golf course, but it is a short hop, skip, and a jump from my family home up there in Iowa, and that is Sheboygan, Wisconsin. The Ryder Cup getting underway at 7:05 this morning. Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth is going to take on John Rahm and Sergio Garcia, and then Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa will take on Paul Casey and Victor Hovland. We are going to talk more on the Ryder Cup coming up in the first hour. But right out of the gates, we've got a busy morning. Right out of the gates, we want to talk about this real fast, and that is because we love local, and we love honoring the local athletes, the local greats. And the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame had their 2020 class induction ceremony on September 13th. But now they're up against a short time frame, Drew, because they need nominations for the 2022 class, which will go in a few months. But the deadline to nominate athletes is coming up very, 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 very fast. And to help us out with that, he's a legend. I'm going to use the word legend when we describe the guy that we have on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline right now, a pure legend, basketball coaching legend in North Alabama.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He was able to make history as they were an SIAC power and went to the national tournament multiple times on the Division II level. And then he got them to the NCAA tournament, the field of 68. Let's always forget to add that. Before he retired from coaching, he got them to the biggest stage in college basketball. He's now a huge part of the committee in choosing these young people, these men and ladies, to go into the Madison County Hall of Fame. And he's a Hall of Famer in his own right, as Scott mentioned, and that's Van Pettaway, the former head basketball coach of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Coach, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Did we use the word legend right? I mean, is that okay to describe you as a legend?
No, I'm not a legend. I'm just pet, man. I'm just pet. I had a great time, and I had some great athletes and some great coaches to help me with the game of basketball.
Experienced wisdom, Coach.
Oh, well, Coach, it was great to catch up with you at the Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. You guys did a fantastic job in pulling this one off because, I mean, you had a year and a half, almost 2 years to plan for it, so I think you guys did well. But now comes the hard part, and that is trying to get nominations for this next class.
Right. That's the biggest thing because, our group, we don't know all the people that are out there who are eligible. And we're looking for the public to help us by nominating people who have the athletic resume and who are Madison County residents. And the only criteria is that they have to be 40 years of age. They have to be 40 years of age, and that they have resided in Madison County for at least 10 years to be in the Hall of Fame. But to get special recognition, they don't have to live in there. The 10-year thing is waived for special recognition. So we need people, the public, to identify people, do the application. It has to be done by October the 1st. As we get ready to start on this next class, it's going to be a short turnaround. We were very happy to be able to get that finally get that class in. We had 4 different postponements, and to get them in was awesome. And that's an awesome class to go in. When you talk about Mickey Dillard, Dwayne Friend, and Coach Miller, Tim Miller, now that's a legend when it comes to basketball. So we just would like for the public to go out and help us identify these people so we can get them inducted.
All right, again, October 1st is the deadline. Coach, where can people go to nominate, or how can they handle all that? Where can they go?
Okay, they go to www.hmcahof.com. In other words, the Huntsville-Madison County Hall of Fame.com, and they'll be able to get that application off of the website, and all they have to do is just have it postmarked by October the 1st.
All right. Easy as that.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And I'm going to go ahead and nominate my own candidate. I was just double checking. I don't think he's in, but he played for you. His sister just went in. I'm nominating Marcus McCall for the Hall of Fame.
All right. Yep. His sister went in, and that's a great. Growing up, they probably had some awesome games in the backyard.
Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, they both can hoop. And also, while I'm at it, I want to publicly thank Scott. Scott, you come in and you help us. You did a magnificent job for us. We really appreciate you still remaining involved in our community. And I just want to publicly thank you for the work that you've done for us.
Well, it's my honor, Coach, and that is you guys put on a first-class banquet, and all I do is try to showcase what you guys have done.
Well, Coach, and we appreciate you staying involved in local athletics, and especially in basketball. You meant a lot to the college basketball scene here and just basketball in general, because we affectionately like to say the best basketball in the state is in North Alabama. You were a huge part of that, and we appreciate all your efforts.
All right. Well, thank you, man, because I believe the same thing. There's great basketball in North Alabama.
Well, Coach, are you glad you're not having to coach right now to have to deal with name, image, and likeness and all this other stuff?
Well, yeah, it seems as if the coaches are going to go broke with the way the players are bringing this money.
All right, Coach Van Pettaway joining us.
Go ahead, Coach. What's your last thought?
No. I was just going to say it was long overdue for them to start giving the athletes a piece of the pie.
No doubt.
All right.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Have a great
Coach.
weekend.
All right, thank you, guys, and you all hanging in. Thanks for the conversation.
Thanks. Van Pettaway joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. October 1st, the deadline to nominate athletes for the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. 40 years in age older, and they've got to live 10 years in the Madison County area. So go ahead, find the website, nominate your athletes. You have until October 1st. For the next class. So good stuff there. All right, let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff from the Borough with us. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Good, Jeff. How are you?
Pretty good. Well, pretty good game down here last night in Oakland. Lipscomb Academy, I guess they call it. I don't know if you know Trent Dilfer coaches at Lipscomb.
Yeah, that's right. He does. I think it's his third year, I think.
Yeah, it's his third year. His daughter plays on the volleyball team at Lipscomb University. That's why he's coaching down here. But pretty good ball game. It was 14-7 at the half. Lipscomb was ahead of Oakland. Turned it over a couple of times. James fumbled it once, and they got down 7-0. And then Oakland fumbled the kickoff, and Lipscomb had it inside the 20 and drove it down inside got the 1 yard line, 4th and goal. But Oakland stuffed them, and then Oakland didn't do anything offensively first half. The only time they scored was Lipscomb fumbled it. Guy picked it up, running in for 60 yards out. But they came back. They was down 21-14 late. They scored a touchdown instead of kicking the extra point. They went for 2 and got it. Then they scored again, and Lipscomb had the ball. They drove it down from their own 20 without, I want to say, like less than 2 minutes to go or something like that, and drove it down to inside the 5. They had like the 2 yard line with like 2 or 3 seconds to go, and they had one last play, and Oakland stopped them. And the clock ran out. They won the ball game. It was 29-21. So
wow.
They run it out. Of course, the stadium open. It was packed. They said they had like 3 or 4 rows deep. People on the fence and 3 or 4 rows. Of course, the stands was packed both sides. Was packed. So I'd say course, it's on the radio down here in Murfreesboro. They had it on the radio broadcast. Everything, I listened to it. But James broke one off in the second half by 75 yards. Broke one off, big long run. But then one time they punted it to him, and he hit the field, and he let it roll down through there, and Lipscomb down about the half-yard line. So they started 2 drives in the first half at the half-yard line. They started to drive, started their possession, whatever. But Oakland came back. I thought Lipscomb might have, but they battled back and won, and they got to play CPA later, which they're defending state champ too. So they play Riverdale too, which is across that rival. So, but it was a real good ball game, and it's probably the top 2 teams in the state. The top public school team, Oakland, the top private school team, Lipscomb, because we've got separate divisions for the public and private schools, so they won't play again. They won't play again this year, but it was a really good ball game, and I know Oakland loved counting that money last night. That gate they got, I know they loved counting the hundreds over there for their athletics and everything. But it was a great ball game. But I know it's a big weekend. I know I was going to ask you guys about the Kentucky South Carolina game. I know Kentucky's favored, and I know Stoops is 6-2 in his career against South Carolina. He won 5 in a row until a couple years ago. I think if Kentucky can go over there and get a lead or take care of business, I think they can win. But on the road, you don't never know. And plus, playing in front of a crowd like that is the first time in a couple of years some of these kids have played in a crowd like that. So I guess that's a concern. I was going to ask you, Drew, do you think that worried Alabama going over there playing in the crowd like that, in the swamp like that, hadn't played in a while like that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had an effect. I mean, the crowd was unbelievable. I mean, and there may have been a slight adjustment, but I mean, they came out and got up 21-3, so I think they were ready to play, and I think they just took their foot off the gas, quite frankly, and that's on Alabama. But I've actually got Kentucky covering in this game. I think the last I saw they were 5.5 or something like that point favorites. I've got them winning by 17. I just don't think South Carolina is very good. I think Kentucky was flat last week. I think that's why it was a 5-point game against Chattanooga. At least that's what I'm gonna chalk it up to. That's what a lot of people said. They thought it was flat. I know Stoops wasn't pleased at all, but of course he wasn't pleased with what they did, but everything. And I did want to tell Scott, I knew you was talking about Gillespie State basketball. The thing about Barnhart, when he fired Gillespie, he fixed it real fast. He's only had two bad hires since he's been in Kentucky. Hiring Gillespie in basketball and naming Joker Phillips coaching Wayne over at football. Everything else he's done, hires has been good. All the sports we got. So he fixed Gillespie real fast and got Calipari real fast. Well, before
we didn't have to go through 5-6 football like y'all did before y'all found Saban.
Well, don't say y'all, because I'm not an out. Don't include me into that when you say y'all. You have a tendency to lump me into all of that. No, don't do that.
Well, Jeff, I will say I am headed to Tennessee tonight. It's in a different part of the state, but there's a battle of unbeatens tonight. Tullahoma is taking on Pearl Cone of Nashville.
Oh,
Pearl Cone, of course, has Barry and Brown. 5-star wide receiver. And I hear Tullahoma's got a much better program now, and a very nice stadium.
They're pretty good. Coach All's been there a while. John Lee's been there for a long time, and they got a pretty good. They've got a pretty good program down there. They do pretty good job last year. I think they were like 12-1 or something like that. They went to the quarterfinals. I think last year. The playoff. I didn't think they'd be as good this year. They lost quite a bit, but they still come back and done real well. But guys, have a good weekend.
And Jeff, before you go, I got a listener wanting to ask you something about food. Now Scott will like this too. He wants to know about wings at 17th Street in Murfreesboro. 17th Street barbecue chicken wings. Have you had them, and are they good?
I haven't had them, no, but there's a place down here, a local place called Toots. It's pretty good. They got chicken wings and fried pickles and burgers. It's a real good place. They got fried pickles as appetizers, so he can come down and get him some fried pickles. And they got great chicken wings and great hamburgers.
All right.
And have a good weekend, y'all. See you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show this morning. And we do a little bit later in the show. We got some news on the NCAA and the signing class stuff. That is going to be good news for some. High school football, plenty being played tonight. We'll run down the list there. And, of course, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the Ryder Cup is underway in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I just like saying that town's name. When we come back, we're going to preview the Ryder Cup from Whistling Straits in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are dealing with a heavy traffic load, but we don't have anything on the board accident-wise, not seeing any problems there. We've got reports of fog from all across the valley, though. If you got a long way to go, it's probably going to slow you down just a little bit, so try to get out a little early. Snelling Medical has opportunities for experienced medical assistance. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
Figuring out what you want to do for the next year. Keeping Baker Mayfield for the future. And I have Tom Brady.
Keep Baker Mayfield for this week, my friend. Baker Mayfield had more yards per pass than anybody in the NFL this past week. I'd be playing Baker Mayfield against the Houston Texans this week.
Tom Brady against Atlanta, sorry.
Wow.
Listen to the Big Dog. Weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people will remember radio ads. So, 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jesus tells us to go the second mile. Well, sometimes it's hard enough to go the first mile. But when the Lord is number one in our lives, we not only go the first mile, but we embrace the second mile. We can talk all we want about Jesus and how important he is to us, but we show it in the second mile. In the second mile, the world has changed. In the second mile, the difference is made. In the second mile, the lost world sees Christ in us. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. And check us out at cpcfamily.org.
We know it's lonely at the top, but we don't mind.
National championship number 18. 13 in all. Absolute perfection.
Roll Tide. Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head back to Tuscaloosa for a showdown with Southern Miss. Our coverage begins at 3:30 on your home for Bama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. 7:23 on a Friday morning. As we mentioned, the Ryder Cup is underway at Whistling Straits in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Team Europe has won 7 of the last 9 Ryder Cups, but Team USA comes in having 9 of the 11 top-ranked players in the world. But we all know the Ryder Cup is not just about individual rankings. It's about team golf, and this is what makes the Ryder Cup so impressive.
Right, and the last time it was in the United States, because it rotates every other
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years, and every 2 years and then 2 years from now it's going to be in Europe. Then it's going to be back in 2 years in the United States. The last time it was in the U.S., the U.S. Ended that long losing streak, and we're going to talk about that with our golf analyst who's live with us in studio, Charlie Plott. Charlie, and you were a part of the last win before the long streak for Europe, as well as a special consultant.
And the last time that USA won, remember that was the time that USA really pissed off Europe
with their celebration,
because they had the celebration and the crowd and everything, they turned it into a sporting event.
They hadn't done that over there and acted like a bunch of horse asses.
I don't know.
Welcome in, Charlie.
Oh, gee, I don't know any other way to describe it. And I was on the phone with one of the guys I did the Ryder Cup with in 2008, and I said, he goes, it's just such a great atmosphere. Drew, what it reminds me of, and this may predate you, I don't know, is the Alabama-Auburn game in Legion Field with the stadium split half and half.
It doesn't predate me. I was at the last one. I can that's one claim to fame I can have. That was 1998 when Sean Alexander and the Tide came back from the deficit against Gabe Gross, good friend of our show and the station. When Gabe was quarterback there. Yes, Alabama came back and won the last game played in Legion Field, the last Iron Bowl. But, yes, it's a 50-50 split, and it's always a high-energy event and no different, and it's underway starting today in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and you look at this year's Ryder Cup, and obviously we don't know a lot about Team USA because of only two guys, and that is the Brooks Koepka and the little feud between him and Bryson DeChambeau. That has kind of overshadowed everything about Team USA because there is no Tiger. There is we do have Phil, I believe.
No Phil,
no Tiger.
First time since '92.
Yeah, so this Team
96.
USA, we don't know a lot of because everybody just wants to talk about the feud and how great it would be to put those two together and play.
I don't think that'll be happening.
Well, they say there's no feud, by the way.
Well, I think it's all a show myself. But the thing that you mentioned right off the bat, which is we have 9 of the top 11 guys in the world, all that sort of stuff. We are huge favorites. In 2008, we lost Tiger because of the knee injury, and we were tremendous underdogs. And literally, thanks to what Captain Azinger did with the pod system and pairing people based on personality, compatibility, we won decisively. And I don't put it past Europe at all to do that. The secret is how is Stricker, who was part of the pod system under Azinger, how is he going to do it? He did create some pods. They went out and practiced. I was looking for the logic behind them. I see some, but I don't see any logic that just strikes me over the head as clear and simple. A lot of times you put people together in pods based on having some skills that offset each other. This morning they are playing alternate shot. That is you don't even go out and gamble at the club playing alternate shot. It just doesn't happen. You don't play it in high school. You don't play it in college. This is one of the few settings you play it in. And so having some sense of emotional compatibility is important. So I look at this and I'm intrigued. The one that is, I hope, a home run is we have Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth together. They have grown up playing.
Compatibility,
They have compatibility. They like each other. They've known each other since kids. You can go back and look at tournaments, national tournaments at 11 and 12 years old, and they're facing off against each other.
Right.
So this goes way, way back. That's easy. Another one I really like is Xander Schauffele, who is one of my favorites. As you know, I keep picking him in the majors. With Patrick Cantlay, who just was on a huge hot streak at the end of the year. These two seem to make a lot of sense to me as far as compatibility goes. And then I was looking at I think we have Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger. People go, what is the deal there? This is a Florida State connection.
No, they'll tee off at 7:37 this morning. Those two will.
Yeah, against Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick.
So what we had when I worked with the Ryder Cup, and you run into it every time you do this, Tiger and Phil were very difficult partners.
I'll just say this. Tiger Woods was not a great Ryder Cup team. Not
His
teammate.
record is not very good.
He was 4-2-2 in singles, but that was his only winning record.
Yes.
He was 4-9-1 in foursomes, 5-10-0 in four balls.
So you look at this compatibility in the President's Cup.
Yeah.
He kept being paired with Steve Stricker. Steve is one of the nicest, and I like to say from a psychological point of view, a benign individual. He's non-offensive, he's easygoing, and they killed it in the President's Cup. And so they would have been paired together in the Ryder Cup that we were working on a long time ago. So you run across, who are these people who are going to be difficult to play with? Bryson DeChambeau is going to be difficult to play with. Brooks Koepka is difficult to play with. And so you look at some of these guys that are more easygoing, that are adaptable. They don't mind being second fiddle. They don't mind being in the background. I know Harris English personally, worked with him as a teenager. He is one of these individuals. It wouldn't surprise me to see Bryson and Harris go out together. So you start looking at how he has clustered these, and so you try to find who could be compatible with almost anyone. Mm-hmm. And you put those types of people together, which we did back in 08, mm-hmm. and you also put those types with the ones who are really difficult individuals. Tiger is very polarizing. Phil is very polarizing. And so you have to figure out that matchup. And I like to think of it a little more like a basketball game than maybe football or something like that. But coaches will tell you, my best five on the floor isn't always my best five. There's that chemistry that you have to really thrive as a basketball team. And that's what these captains are looking for this week, and they will make judgments very quickly. If Jordan and Justin Thomas go off this morning and just do great, you're going to see them again this afternoon. You'll see them again tomorrow. You have teams that tend to flounder, and you'll see the captain making changes.
Explain the format so that everybody knows what's going to happen.
This is as clear as mud. You have this morning foursomes, which is alternate shot, and it's alternate shot in this way. Let's say Jordan Thomas tees off on one. I don't know that he did, but Jordan Spieth, tees off on one. Then Justin Thomas will tee off on two, and then Jordan will tee off on three, and they alternate. And then once that person has teed off, you alternate shots. So it's very, very difficult to get in a flow and be in your own game. It's a challenge. Then there is four ball, which is you play your own ball, and you have two people on each team, and you take the lowest score on that hole. Okay, and a lot of us, you gamble in some of those formats at the golf course. Us four against you four, and we'll take the two lowest scores or the one lowest score. It's kind of like that in miniature, and then they wrap up on Sunday with head-to-head, one-on-one competition, and the secret there is, what order do I put them out in? It's real interesting. Historically, it tends to come down to the eighth man is where the deciding factor historically has come on Sunday. Whether you win or lose, it will tend to be that eighth match on Sunday out of the 12 matches. So there's all sorts of strategy, and you have to figure out, well, who are they going to put out first, and who do I want to put out with them, and it turns into just a nightmare. But this morning will be alternate shot. This afternoon will be four ball, where you get the best score on each hole. Back tomorrow with foursomes, then four ball again, and then you have the head-to-head competition on Sunday.
Well, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, Sergio Garcia tied through one right now.
So one of the things that has helped Europe with their pairings is they tend to do them with culturally similar backgrounds. So you have Sergio and you have John Rahm, both Spaniards.
Okay.
You get a little bit of a twist with the next one. You have Paul Casey and Victor Hovland. Hovland is Norwegian. Casey is from England. Then you get Westwood and Fitzpatrick. This is two English pairings. You get Rory and Ian. This is, I think, Irish pairings.
Yes, they are.
And so historically that was done because of communication issues, not so much between the players, but you could end up with Bernhard Langer with a caddy who speaks German, with Sergio Garcia who might have a caddy who speaks Spanish, and the players can communicate with English, but the caddies may not. So that's slowly going away culturally as more and more. Victor Hovland played in the U.S. in college. He's very fluent in English, so there's not a language barrier. But the Euros have kind of had these natural groupings based on the countries they come from. The U.S., we don't have that. And so there's not a natural way to group them. In 2008, we did it with personality. I think there's some of that going on this year. We approached the PGA about this and were turned down. An interesting twist, the PGA of America owns our half of the Ryder Cup. The European Tour owns the European half of the Ryder Cup. So the PGA of America has chosen not to run the process. The European Tour has a very definite process. Their future captain is one of the assistant captains this week. They are in training. They have a system for picking the players and making the pairings. The U.S. just turns it every year over to what does this captain want to do? What does this captain want to do?
Right.
There's no overriding structure. It's an interesting dynamic.
All season long, these guys compete against each other. It's mano-a-mano on the golf course and everything like that. How hard is it mentally to, at the end of the year, because comes at the end of after the FedEx Cup, it comes after everything, to mentally switch and play a team game?
It's very difficult. Again, the thing I just mentioned gives Europe an advantage. When they're out there playing on tour, those players own their Ryder Cup team. And so they're in that mindset of, even though I'm trying to kick your butt this week, you and I are probably going to be on that Ryder Cup team, and they're talking about it. They're doing it. On the U.S. Tour, the tour doesn't own it. The PGA of America owns it. And so you run into a really difficult situation where I am literally a free agent all year. I'm looking out for me. And, yeah, there'll be a little discussion when Ryder Cup comes around. And I'm sure Steve Stricker has tried to facilitate things. Hey, it's obvious you're going to be on the Ryder Cup team. You might want to start talking to some of the other guys that are obvious. But there's a different atmosphere with Europe and the U.S.
Wow.
And, Charlie, talk about the venue where they're playing here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. How difficult of a course is it? How does it set up?
I think it's one of the most intriguing golf courses ever. It's on the edge of I guess Lake Michigan, and it's in Wisconsin. It's cliffs. It's going to look like Pebble Beach in some regards, and lots of natural sand deposits. So, folks, when you tune in, you're going to notice all sorts of little tiny bunkers everywhere. And if the wind blows, this is a really, really difficult golf course.
That's why they call it Whistling Straits, I guess.
What major was just there? We just had one there, did we not?
The PGA has been there a couple of times,
yeah.
and they've hosted other events. It's a great venue, and just very natural. It's going to look Scottish in a lot of ways. So. I think it plays more like an American golf course. It's not overly firm and hard like you get in Scotland, and the ball's bouncing along the ground. But the look of it is going to be very link style because it is right alongside a big body of water.
Yeah, you're right. 2015 was the PGA Championship. That was the last time it was played there at Whistling Straits. So some golfers there should be familiar with it. I mean, some of them probably should be, but the PGA Championship is played at a different time than what they play this. So the conditions will be a little bit different.
It's nippy here this morning. I guarantee you it's nippy in Wisconsin.
Oh, in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, there's no question about that. But, Charlie, I wanted to ask about preparation for the Ryder Cup, and this is for each team. You were part of it in 2008. How many practice rounds can you get in at the venue before the event begins?
So they will start usually on Monday and Tuesday. They will get there and start playing practice rounds. They did use pods. They had groups of 4 go out, and you're going to play with the guys in your group of 4, and it allows you to practice. So you go out and go, me and you against Scott and somebody, and we'll play alternate shot for 9 holes, and then we'll play 4-ball for 9 holes. So they switch them up, and they get used to it and comfortable with that. The Euros have had a little longer history of pairings together, so you kind of know coming in this guy and that guy are going to do their stuff in practice. So there is a very brief ramp-up period to getting used to each other and playing. The other thing is you don't want to overplay, because I was talking about this before we went on the air. They're teeing off right now. They'll be done at dark tonight.
Yes.
And then they will do the same thing again tomorrow. You have 4 guys that will be sitting out this morning. They'll probably get in this afternoon, and you rotate and you try to keep some people fresh. You'll have some that will play all 4 matches today, tomorrow, and then play 18 holes on Sunday as a single. That's a lot of golf. That's going to wear out most anybody. If nothing else, just the fact that you've stood on your feet for 10 hours, that wears on you. Golf is a slow burn. It is not like running up and down the basketball court and you can call timeout and take a break. It just grinds on you all day long.
By the way, it's warmer in Sheboygan, Wisconsin than it is here.
Oh, well,
wow.
Way to go, Scott.
So there you have it.
Man.
And obviously the Ryder Cup is a race to points, right?
Yes. You get you win a point if you win a match.
Yep.
If a match is tied, there isn't a playoff, half a point each.
Well, and Charlie, I know you talked about 9 of the top 11 players in the world being on the American team. So would it be safe to say that the Americans this year are a huge favorite, and it would be a big upset if they do not win this?
Yes. And that is frequently the case. Americans have been huge favorites numerous times and laid absolute eggs and just embarrassed folks. And, somebody years ago, I think it was Hal Sutton, decided he was going to put Tiger and Phil together and he was going to live or die with it, and they didn't win a point.
Disaster.
Yeah, they died.
They died.
They died. All right. We asked this question with all of our football coaches, so we're going to ask you. Team USA wins the Ryder Cup if... What has to happen for Team USA to win the Ryder Cup?
I think you're going to have to see Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth do well, and Bryson not go 0-3 like he did last time.
There you go. Something to watch for on the Ryder Cup 2021 edition from Whistling Straits in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Our golf analyst, Charlie Plott, Plott Performance. Tell him about it, Charlie.
Oh, man, we've got so much stuff going on. It's college golf season, which goes on all year round, but I've got a couple of college teams I'm working with. They can always go to our website. We have golf on the website. It is about to expand. We'll grow into some other things. I had an angler win Angler of the Year this year, fishing. People go, wow, that's weird. You work with pro bass fishermen? Yes. That is my 4th Angler of the Year. So we're doing something right along the fishing lines. But if you want to get in touch with us, you can go to plottperformance.com. There's ways to email us. We're also on Twitter at plottperformance. And my number, if anybody wants it, is 256-509-2636. All
right, give them a call if you need to get right in the head on the golf course. Charlie Plott and Plott Performance.
Yeah, we got to go on a break. We come back, wrapping up hour 1. This week is rapidly coming to a close, but we got plans on Saturday, and we'll tell you about them when we get back.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are dealing with a heavy traffic load, but we don't have anything on the board accident-wise, not seeing any problems there. We've got reports of fog from all across the valley, though. If you got a long way to go, it's probably going to slow you down just a little bit, so try to get out a little early. Snelling Medical has opportunities for experienced medical assistance. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Bob Baumhauer and 97.7 ESPN The Zone have teamed up to bring you a huge opportunity this fall. Each week, come on down to Baumhauer's during the drive on Thursdays between 5 and 7 and register to win a Lunch Bunch gift certificate for 6 to Baumhauer's. But wait, there's more. Each weekly winner will then be placed into a drawing for Bob's tickets to the LSU Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, complete with an invitation to Bob's exclusive pregame party at Baumhauer's tent on the quad. Stay tuned to 97.7 ESPN The Zone for other opportunities to sign up and win Bob's tickets.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Hello, this is Kerry Rosenblum, Rosenblum Realty, and we're part of that MA family. It's great to see football season back in. And, we're at Rosenblum Realty trying to take care of all your real estate needs, whether home buying or selling. We'd like for you to put our 64 years of experience to work for you. We have 4-generation family ownership and, again, take a personal touch to taking care of your real estate needs. Call us at 256-539-9501 or rosenblumrealty.com.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
What's happening? What's happening?
Hi, what's happening is it's your Friday edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And make sure you join us tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30 as we will be at University Kia along University Drive. Thanks to University Kia and Baumhauer's Victory Grill, we're going to give you a chance to go see Alabama and Ole Miss from Bryant-Denny Stadium on October 2nd, free. All you got to do is drop by University Kia tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30, put your name in the box, and we will draw the winner during our special edition of Talking Ball tomorrow from 1:30 to 3:30 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So come on out, and it is free. No charge. Don't have to do anything. Come on out, though. Say hi to us. Say hi to the gang there at University Kia. Put your name in the box, and you are registered to win a pair of tickets to go see Alabama and Ole Miss inside Bryant-Denny Stadium on October 2nd. And the other big thing, we've done a great job of keeping everyone up to date on this. And indeed, it has become, I guess you could say, become official. And that is recruiting will see an expansion of classes. The NCAA Football Oversight has recommended the 1-year waiver to immediately expand 25-man signing limits. Coaches can replace up to 7 transfers. The max signing number will be 32. The NCAA Division I Council needs to approve this at its October 5th meeting. It's not going to get resistance. It's going to be approved. Then they're going to take their time and come back in August, and it's going to figure out what they need to do for the years going forward. This is just a 1-year Band-Aid until they can get a long-term solution.
Yeah, and they don't have to use all 32. Certain squads probably won't. It's going to depend on because you still have to have 85 on scholarship. They're not expanding the 85. So this is just going to depend. Each individual school is going to have a different situation. So you'll have to. And again, sometimes you won't know because most of the time these head coaches don't share how many they've got on scholarship. Now, Tennessee sure as heck could use it, and if they don't use all 32, I'll be shocked, based upon how many they lost in the transfer portal. And
that's the thing. You don't know if you're going to need the 32 until at the end of the year, until guys transfer out or how many transfer out. Alabama right now, are they going to be one that's going to go above 25?
It's not replacing guys that leave early for the NFL.
Right. Okay. Just guys that are going into the transfer portal and up. So we'll have to wait and see. Go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Crawdad is with us this morning.
What's up, Crawdad?
Hey, good segue on Tennessee. I just wanted to get you guys' take on Tennessee chickening out on Army next year.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that Tennessee canceled that game. I guess they know they've got a huge rebuild on their hands, Crawdad, and if Coach Monken continues to stay at Army, and I know he flirted with some other schools last year, but Army's got it rolling pretty good. So I think it's probably a game that in a battle of attrition they didn't want to fight with where their roster is right now.
Well, Drew, here's a couple of things just to make that even worse. One, they paid Army $500,000 just not to play them.
Well,
they said some
there you
kind
go.
of bull crap reason about how they didn't want to practice for an option offense before a Florida game or something like that. And the other thing is they're paying the Akron team $1.4 million to come take their place. But here's the real disgrace. The real disgrace is they had a ceremony planned at halftime for that game to honor Medal of Honor recipients because Army was in town. That is canceled, and the Tennessee Stadium is named for a West Point graduate, General Bob Naylor.
Yeah, that's right, General
If I was a Tennessee fan, I would hang my head in shame. I guess maybe the next question, you think Tennessee can stroke a check to Florida and still get out of this one this weekend?
No, I don't think they can get out of that one. I think they're going to take one on the chin. I don't know if Florida will cover the 19.5 or so that it's been. I would my guess would be no, but I think they're still going to win by 14 to 17 points because I think they'll honestly, and this is kind of where Tennessee's program is, I think Florida will be a little flat after that Alabama performance, but I still think they'll take care of business. This Tennessee team is not very good. We saw that, against Pitt. Pitt turns around and loses to Western Michigan. The ACC is a train wreck. I think Tennessee will probably recruit well and be aggressive in the portal once again. But I think, this just smells to me like, okay, we know Coach Heupel's going to have a big rebuild ahead of him. And we don't want to play Army because it could be embarrassing. Because, again, it's a difficult preparation, and it's something where right now there's a lot more stability with the Army program. It's a perennial bowl program, and it's definitely a situation where just like when Pitt came in a couple weeks ago and won the Johnny Majors Classic, that Army could have come into Neyland and won a game, because we already know that Army scared the daylights out of Oklahoma, could have easily beat Kyler Murray. That was an overtime game. And then we know Army's also scared Michigan, so they wouldn't have been intimidated in this situation.
Yeah, and so as they stated, Tennessee paying Army $500,000, and they're only going to pay Akron $1 million. They were set to pay Army $1.4, and so the total will be $1.5. So it's costing them an extra $100,000 to get out of the
to make
Army
sure they
game.
can beat the Akron Zips, and if they don't beat the Akron Zips, then Josh Heupel will probably not have a job.
Well, they should beat Akron.
Oh, they'll beat Akron.
Although Akron, though, I will say this. Akron is not the worst team in college football right now, and that is UConn. UConn is by far, hands down, the worst college football team in America.
They're praying for Dan Hurley right now.
Yeah.
Praying for him.
I mean,
Got to have some good basketball in the Big East.
Randy Edsall killed that program last year when he decided
Wokeness.
not to play at all and put his personal beliefs in front of the team's personal beliefs.
He gone.
And then when he decided again this year to put his own personal feelings in front of the football team and quit on the team because he was going to retire anyway, UConn is a disaster. So good luck. I mean, good for Akron. They're not the worst team now in all of college football. And that says a lot, too. Kansas is on that list as well.
They all love basketball, bro.
Well, UConn, Kansas.
Yeah, they need to play each other in basketball. Just forget about it.
256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in and we'll talk
Dan
more
Hurley
on that.
versus Bill Self. That's what they need.
Oh, well, Bill Self will get his way in the expanded Big 12. Now, Bill Self will have a little more competition, though, to navigate with Houston coming in and BYU. Well, not BYU, but UCF.
BYU is coming in.
I think BYU is just football only, though.
I hate that. Just come on. I mean, I know that the WCC needs teams, but who cares? I mean, give me a break. It's still the Gonzaga Invitational. Come on. With a little St. Mary sprinkled in. Just get your if I'm Mark Pope and I'm BYU, I'm wanting the hell out of there. I want the Big 12.
In everything.
It's a better league, for crying out loud. I'd be complaining.
Well, we will. We're going to talk some more Tennessee football, though, coming up in the second hour.
Matt Race with the VR2SI is going to join us and talk some Tennessee here at the top of the hour.
We'll get his true opinion on the Tennessee Army debacle that happened earlier this week. Your Ryder Cup score update: Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, 1 up through 2 holes over John Rahm and Sergio Garcia. Dustin Johnson and Colin Morikawa, they are 1 up through 1 on Paul Casey and Victor Hovland. So that is your Ryder Cup scoring update from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. They're Whistling Straits. I was a young lad when I made the trip the first time up to Sheboygan. So I've enjoyed the cheese curds and everything that goes with the trip to Wisconsin.
I knew you had. And let me make a correction here. It is now called Volunteer Country on Sports Illustrated, okay? Well, I can't keep up with all these name changes. I'm just trying to give them credit.
On a Friday, by the way, there was some high school football played last night. Hatton comes away your winner over East Lawrence last night in a little Class 2A tilt. Hatton 30, East Lawrence 14. We'll talk more high school football in the second hour as well. Plus, we're going to talk some more college football. It's at the Swamp. Is Florida for real, or did they just play their game of the year against Alabama? We'll dig into that. And is Tennessee what they're expecting to do in the Swamp under Josh Heupel? What do we know about the Vols? Except for Joe Milton not being at quarterback, that we know. We'll find out more next.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a couple of new wrecks coming out of Limestone County now. Main Street in Ardmore near State Line Road, that one's reported with an injury. And 251 in Thatch Road is reported as an injury-type accident. Parkway in Maston Lake, they just upgraded it to injuries. Eastbound Highway 20 at the Beltline in Decatur, nobody's hurt. And Short Pike in Larissie got upgraded to an injury-type in Huntsville. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A beautiful Friday afternoon across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-70s. It is going to be a beautiful evening for Friday night football across all of North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Many of us are going to spend the vast majority of football games hanging out in the low and mid-60s. We drop into the low and mid-50s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine for your Saturday afternoon. Highs hanging out in the mid-upper 70s, dropping into the mid-upper 50s through the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Sunday. Highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
NFL Week 3, the Falcons at the Giants. Atlanta, a 3-point road underdog, the over-under 48. Meanwhile, the Saints, a 3-point underdog at the Patriots, 42 total. College football, number 23, Auburn at home against Georgia State tomorrow. The Tigers, minus 27.5, the over-under 57. And number 1, Alabama, a 45-point favorite at home against Southern Miss, over-under 58. UFC 266. On the main card, the featherweight championship between Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. Volkanovski minus 185, Ortega plus 150. And in the women's flyweight championship, Valentina Shevchenko minus 1,500 against Lauren Murphy at plus 750.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. And Drew.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30, we invite you to join us at University Kia for your chance to head to the Alabama-Ole Miss game, courtesy of 97.7 ESPN The Zone, University Kia, and Baumhauer's Victory Grill. All you need to do is stop out at University Kia, sign the box, put your name in it, and you will be registered for a pair of tickets courtesy of University Kia and Baumhauer's Victory Grill to head to that Ole Miss Alabama game. Coming up tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on ESPN, the Florida Gators back at home at the Swamp, taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. We've talked a lot about Florida coming off that loss to Alabama, and you mentioned they're getting a lot of pats on the back for coming up close and nearly dethroning Alabama. What are they going to do this week? But what about Tennessee? What do we really know about the Vols and Josh Heupel? We've seen them against Pitt. We've seen them play some non-conference games where they look good at moments. We've seen Joe Milton struggle, but he's hurt. What do we expect and what do we know from Tennessee going into this game?
And we are going to check in with somebody who is going to give us the pulse of the Vols. He does a great job for Volunteer Country, part of the Sports Illustrated network. He is the editor and publisher of that website. Does a great job covering Vols recruiting as well. And he and his staff cover Tennessee athletics, as a whole. But he is going to give us his thoughts on this matchup for Tennessee. Tennessee coming in 2-1 with those victories over Bowling Green and, of course, last week over Tennessee Tech. But in between that, they lost a shootout to Pitt, and we'll see what they can do against the Gators on the road in their SEC opener, and that's Matt Ray. Matt, welcome back to Huntsville. You with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good. Okay, and I had the honor of hosting the Chuck Oliver show yesterday. I asked Adam Sparks about this. I know you know Sparks. He's back. He's now on the Tennessee beat. He said that it's been a kind of a running joke this week on the Tennessee beat about the quarterback situation. I'll get your thoughts. I still think it's going to be Hendon Hooker, but supposedly Joe Milton has been back at practice, but non-committal by Josh Heupel. But after the way Hooker's played the last couple of weeks in his stead, I would think that would give Tennessee the best chance to win. But what say you?
Yeah, I think at this point it kind of has been a running joke. And, Jake's been covering press conferences for us. And I think even when anybody asks a question about the quarterback, they know that they're not going to get a straightforward answer out of Josh Heupel. And that's the way that he's handled the situation the whole time through. He didn't tip his hand until the last second, before Bowling Green and naming Milton the starter. And he's definitely not going to give Florida, any more advantage. Joe Milton has practiced this week, and Tennessee, still believes in Joe Milton. Josh Heupel's mentioned that multiple times since he left the game, and, despite the inconsistency on the ability to hit the deep ball. But right now, when you look at what Hendon Hooker has done since taking over for Joe Milton, about the midpoint of that Pitt game, you can't really take the ball out of his hands, in my opinion. All signs continue to kind of point toward Hendon Hooker. He is completing passes, at a high rate. He's, using his legs. And not to say that Joe hasn't used his legs as much, but Hooker has definitely been the, more reliable dual-threat guy. And Tennessee really wants to take those deep shots, and Hendon can't do that as much as Joe does. But right now, Hendon does feel like he gives Tennessee the best chance to win, and I think that's the guy that we see to start the game on Saturday. Josh Heupel said yesterday in his final media availability before the game that he doesn't anticipate playing two quarterbacks, but we'll see. We'll see what happens depending on how the flow of that game goes, because Tennessee wants to take those deep shots. They believe that gives them the best chance to succeed in the SEC. That's how Josh Heupel played it, coached and had his players play at UCF, and they've been there. They've schemed those shots up. Joe Milton just has to hit them. They've seen him hit them in practice, and it just has to translate over to Saturdays. But we'll see what happens. I think Hendon Hooker is the guy to start the game tomorrow night.
It is amazing how times change over the years. This game in the SEC used to be the premier matchup in the SEC East. Tennessee, Florida, this was one that was circled. It was a no-brainer usually for the 2:30 CBS game. It was the matchup. And Tennessee, obviously, we know the struggles that they've had. Going down to Gainesville, how epic would it be for Tennessee to hang close or even pull off an upset Saturday?
I think you mentioned it as I was coming in. Florida's continued to receive a lot of pats on the back about almost dethroning Alabama and, really, looking like they were where they were last year, And for me, the schedule was released, I've kind of said to Tennessee fans that have asked, where do you think we could steal one? I've thought that it was Florida. I still think that, it would be Florida if Tennessee was going to steal a game. As far in terms of an upset, I think the matchups are there for the Vols. But for Josh Heupel, it would be huge. It's a night game. It's on ESPN. You're going to have a lot of eyes on you. Florida's going to have a stadium full of recruits. They continue to do that. I think they had almost, 150 for Alabama last week, which, I don't know how effective that is in terms of, being able to mingle and get to know those guys, but you at least get to let them experience the environment. I expect Florida to have a pretty good number there again this weekend. So for Tennessee, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you, a lot of, probably prospects that they've at least extended offers to or have interest in the stands watching you. So, it would be huge for Josh Heupel in year one to knock Florida off. For me, I think he just has to go down there, have his team compete. Can't really do what, Jeremy Pruitt did in years past and lay an egg in this game. And at the end of the day, I think Josh Heupel has some matchups that he can take advantage of. Can Tim Banks continue to have defensive success against Florida? And can Dan Mullen get the Gators up for another, high intensity environment? We'll see. I don't think that Tennessee's going to go down and knock Florida off, but I do think and have thought for a while that this is, the one that they could steal.
Well, we're talking to Matt Ray, editor and publisher of Volunteer Country on Sports Illustrated. Matt, I mean, that we saw Harrison Bailey in the spring. He played well, but then we saw Joe Milton added to the mix. Hendon Hooker had come in from Virginia Tech as a graduate transfer. What, in your mind, as you heard the buzz, what separated these Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton from a guy like Bailey? Was it the ability to be a dual threat in your mind? Or, because Bailey came in with a nice reputation. I know a lot of the fan base wanted to see him, and he hasn't received much playing time so far.
Yeah, I think it came down to the dual threat ability. And just, I think for this Tennessee coaching staff, and here early on, we've seen the injury bug hit the offensive line with Cooper Mays being out since Bowling Green, Tennessee, anticipating having him back this week. Kingston Harris, a rotational guy that came in and got some work while Mays was out, banged up. Tennessee's probably not going to have him for a couple of weeks now. Cade Mays left last week's game, but he should be fully ready to go for this week's. But, I think this Tennessee coaching staff understood that they had to find that rotation and maybe do some of that on the fly, getting guys reps and live action. And, Joe and Hendon are able to move the pocket and have a lot of, a good bit more experience than Harrison. They've been in, a college program longer than he has. And you go back to last year for Harrison, and he got a season in an SEC schedule and got some playing time, but spring was derailed for him like all the other freshmen across the country. He ended up in quarantine, a couple of times during fall camp that set him back. So when you get back from that, you're just kind of buried. So he didn't get a lot of work with the ones and twos before he started getting, that work with the ones and twos in terms of gameplay when they threw him in against Arkansas. And then kind of thereafter moving forward, he just hadn't received a lot of reps at that point. And he started getting that this spring. But, I think with the offensive line where it is and what Josh Heupel wanted to do right now, given the SEC schedule that Tennessee's going to have to play, I think Hendon and Joe's way kind of separated things for them.
Going into the season, Josh Heupel and the offense got a lot of attention because Josh Heupel is that offensive-minded coach. It was, hey, how can the Vols do on defense? What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to stop anybody? They may be able to score, but they may not be able to stop anybody. Early on, though, I think the early returns on the Tennessee defense has to be positive. How would you grade the Vols offense through these first few games so far?
Yeah, as far as that goes, I think that defensive group has kind of exceeded expectations. Coming out of fall camp, there was a lot of buzz. That whole group seemed to start turning a corner. Saw it with the defensive line early on. Ronnie Garner got a tremendous amount of buy-in. Was able to create a rotation with, transfers like Caleb Tremblay and DeJohn Terry coming into the mix. Matthew Butler, kind of performing at the level that he's expected to. Elijah Simmons able to get back in a starting role. And it starts up front in the SEC. We all know that starts in the trenches. And then you kind of question the linebackers coming out of spring, especially if you sit there and watch the spring game. You have, Quasi Garland, a former walk-on, and Salon Page, a multi-year guy that hadn't had a lot of, breaks go his way since he's been at Tennessee, running with the ones during that spring game because Tennessee was injured. You had Jeremy Banks on the sideline. You didn't really know what you had behind those guys. And it was still kind of fresh in everybody's mind that Henry To'oTo'o had transferred to Alabama. Quavaris Trout's gone to Michigan State. So you lose both guys that started all 10 games there last year. But Tennessee's able to go to the transfer portal and make some moves and really get some depth at inside linebacker. And I think probably, outside of the quarterback position, that was the most intriguing position for the Vols, coming into the fall. And you have Jawan Mitchell, the Texas transfer, that a lot of people were really excited about. People inside the program, fan base excited about him, led Texas in tackles last year. And, he has been a factor for Tennessee there, but, he's been out. He missed last week for undisclosed reasons. Josh Heupel seemed a little in doubt about his status yesterday. We'll see where he's at tomorrow before the game. But, even with Jawan Mitchell, the guy that Tennessee was counting on coming in and being a force in the middle, they created a really nice, rotation there and have got consistent linebacker play so far. And then the secondary is filled with veterans. You have Alontae Taylor, Jalen McCullough, Theo Jackson, Trayvon Flowers, and Warren Burrell, all guys who are multi-year in the program and have started multiple games at this point, and that group has been efficient as well. So I think through 3 games, Tim Banks' defense has graded out very well, and but the real test comes tomorrow night.
Yeah, it really does, no doubt. And Matt, as we spend the last few minutes with you, I know that the Pitt game had to be a little frustrating. It was the Johnny Majors Classic. They struggled on defense some. Of course, Kenny Pickett, really good quarterback for Pitt, but a different kind of guy. He's mobile, but he's a really good passer. You saw what Florida did. How concerning are you with how Florida played against Alabama and how it matches up against Tennessee?
Yeah, I think Dan Mullen catches a lot of grief for some decisions that he makes a lot of times. He's still one of the best play callers in the conference, and he was able to get Emory Jones in a rhythm during that game and find some spots in Alabama that he was able to exploit. And, for Tennessee, they've struggled historically with dual-threat quarterback in all games, but especially Florida. I think we talked about running jokes about the quarterback. Well, the running joke this week has been when does Florida's backup quarterback come in and hang 40 on Tennessee among the Tennessee fan base? They've seen it so many times, and Florida has 2 guys in Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson that are going to create and really stretch your defense, and Dan Mullen's going to get his playmakers in space. And for me, it comes down to how well can Tennessee tackle, and, is the defensive line pass rush able to get Emory Jones out of rhythm, make him uncomfortable. We saw him make some bad throws in those first couple of games against Florida Atlantic, South Florida. So how can you get him out of that comfort zone that he was able to get into last week? He's coming off, arguably a career day for him. And he's going to be looking to build on that against a Tennessee team that he knows that he should be able to build on. So, you get Byron Young back last week. Tyler Barron's played really well. I think you're going to have to see Tennessee use a combination of those 2 guys and have them on the field at the same time a lot to be able to rush and drop different looks into coverage and just make Emory Jones uncomfortable. I think, for me, that's the biggest matchup is, can Tennessee's pass rush get to Emory Jones? Can they make him make poor decisions to give the secondary a chance to create turnovers?
And you got to also remember, and Scott, we talked about this many times, Dan Mullen's known for laying turds. He did last year when it looked like they could still make the college football playoff, and we had the shoe game against LSU in Gainesville. So he does this. Now, the only thing I question, Matt, and it's being respectful, is does Tennessee have enough talent to pull it off? Because certainly LSU underachieved. This Tennessee team, this would be a huge program-defining win early for Josh Heupel.
Absolutely. I think that if you win this, it's like you said, Drew, a program-defining win early on. And, Tennessee is first 11 in, and a few guys behind. Tennessee's going to have the talent to hang, but for how long? Florida has depth, and they have speed, and that's going to play a factor. Tennessee hasn't really played in, probably that same – it's been hot early on, but they haven't played in that same type of heat that they're going to see in Gainesville, even though it's going to cool down. We all know it's a little bit of a different heat down there in Florida. So, we'll see where the Vols are at, how they are injury-wise. It looks like they're going to be okay injury-wise for the most part coming in this game. Need to get a few guys back. But, it would be a huge win for Josh Heupel's program if he's able to pull it off. I think most importantly, you just have to go to Gainesville and be competitive.
Matt Ray joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, managing editor and publisher of Volunteer Country, a part of SI Now. Matt, what's the overall feeling this week of Tennessee backing out of the Army series?
I think there was some mixed feelings about that because it came around the same time that Danny White announced restructuring to the ticket plan, and Tennessee fans that had been long-time season ticket holders were already a little worked up about that, not sure of the ins and outs of how that was going to work, and then you have this where you're canceling a game with Army or buying Army out and paying Akron to come to town. That's something that Jeremy Pruitt initiated and the last staff initiated, and it was carried over into this, with this new administration. But, ultimately, I think when you kind of look at it from the big picture, you look at Army and what do you really benefit from playing a triple option team if you're Josh Heupel in year two, and a triple option team that, gave teams fits in the past. Look what Army did against Oklahoma a couple of years back in Norman. So, I think you get an opponent in that you can tune up with. You don't want a game where you're playing a triple option team where you're going to be banging inside and, going to be some nasty blocks. How healthy are you going to be out of that game? Ultimately, I think Tennessee fans understand it.
Well, I think if you're going to play that game, honestly, Matt, I just think you need to play at the first game of the season where you have all summer to prepare.
Absolutely, you have to. I mean, you don't want to be prepared for the triple option like you said. 3-4 weeks into the season.
Yeah, you really don't.
It's not a good recipe for success in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, Tennessee comes out, losing about $100,000.
Yeah.
So
Scott was talking about that.
Yeah. You're not going to, you're really not going to miss that. And if that's something that, obviously I think two coaching staffs felt that way about it. So you really win in the long run, and you get an Akron team to come down that, you should handle business against, and you just keep moving forward in year two. And we've seen teams start to sustain success in year two more and more. So if you can get yourself out of a trap game or a game where you're going to leave with you could leave with several injuries, I think you do it. I think it's smart in the long term.
All right. Matt Ray with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good stuff, Matt.
Yeah, great stuff, Matt. And my final question to you is, how does the Vols pull this upset in your mind?
I'll go back to the Tennessee pass rush. You have to disrupt Emory Jones. You have to force and win the turnover battle, and you have to get more guys involved. You have to hit on those deep shots. Tennessee's held Jimmy Callaway back a little bit. He had a knee scope midway point of fall camp. Saw him a little bit. He had a really electric run against Pitt from about 45 yards out. You have to get him more involved. He's a guy that can stretch Florida's defense. You have to get Jalen Hyatt returned to form, and you have to be able to have some consistency running the ball. You need Jabari Small and Todd Evans back in the backfield together, and you need to have some consistency up front to keep Florida off balance. And, we'll see. I don't think that you're going to see all those things play out for Tennessee. I think Florida's really good on the defensive front. I think, Dan Mullen's going to have success in protecting Emory Jones. He's had a lot of success doing it so far, and we'll see. But Tennessee has to win the turnover battle to be in this game late.
Great stuff, Matt. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game. And everybody connect with Matt and then to follow their coverage. And he's on Twitter at Matt Ray, no spaces, SI. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy a good college football Saturday tomorrow.
All right, it is indeed a good college football Saturday tomorrow. And come on out to University Kia tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30.
Free tickets.
For your chance to win a pair of tickets to Ole Miss and Alabama on October 2nd. I wanted to say Southern Miss, but it's Ole Miss.
They got to take care of Southern Miss first, but if they don't, we all know that
you have already handed them the
you're in
W.
the twilight zone.
You have already put the W in the column.
Yeah.
When they fall down 3-0 tomorrow.
My rat poison.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to continue the football talk. We're not done with our day yet. We've got a lot to talk about because Matt Wyatt will join us. It's been a while since we've talked to Matt Wyatt. We got to get his thoughts on Mississippi State. Are they still the bottom of the SEC, or do they have a chance?
Well, just
against
where are
LSU?
they right now? That was a tough loss. The officiating was atrocious. We all know that now over in Memphis. And this is a game where Mississippi State put a knot on Ed Ogeron's head last year. And we've been talking some LSU this week. And this is a true fork in the road game for Ed Ogeron. And we want to get Matt Wyatt's take on it, the color analyst for the Mississippi State Radio Network, and, of course, the host of the Matt Wyatt Show.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got another wreck on Maston Lake. This one's reported at Buttrey. No injury reported there. Short, Pike, and Larissie did report with an injury. Also had injuries reported Parkway and Maston Lake. Got Main Street in Ardmore near State Line Road. That one's got an injury. 251 near Thatch Road turned out to be a no injury. Are you tired of the mask and hose? Dr. Sandman has the easy-to-use and easy-to-clean Somnodent oral device. Insurance approved for snoring and sleep apnea. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville, call 256-713-0575.
Orange is the color of power, of progress, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done, trust Kubota's L and M Series tractors, zero-turn mowers, the fun sidekick, from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work. Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Listen to me weekly on The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Roll Tide.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. We're live on a Friday morning, 53 degrees. We're warming up. We've warmed up a few degrees since the show started. And speaking of warming up, I watched a little bit of the Mississippi State-Memphis game, saw the bad call, and thought, oh my goodness, that's bad. And then I was scrolling around Twitter, and I saw our next guest pop up on Twitter. And then I realized just how bad that was.
It was bad. As one of his great listeners of the Matt Wyatt Show, which you can hear from 12 to 3, Monday through Friday, on 105.9 ESPN in Jackson, Mississippi, said, it's like closing the barn door after the cows run out. It was not very good. It was brutality, really, and I feel bad for Mississippi State. But our next guest, of course, he has a great YouTube channel as well, does a lot of great work, unevenbaseball.com as well. Also, he is the color analyst for the Mississippi State Bulldog Radio Network, native of Prattville, Alabama, played for the Prattville Lions before having an outstanding career for the Maroon and White, and now having an outstanding multimedia career, and that's Matt Wyatt. Matt, welcome back to the show, and Huntsville here with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Doing great, boys. Good to talk with y'all. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, sir. And talk about that. The officiating, the obvious errors. I do think it cost Mississippi State a chance to win. And then when you kind of look at the stats, honestly, Mississippi State, Zach Arnett's defense played pretty good. I mean, I think they stymied that Memphis offense, and it's just unfortunate that some officiating errors likely cost Mississippi State a road win.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. It's one of those things that you have come to, unfortunately, sort of expect from SEC officiating throughout the year, regardless really of who you are. They're good guys. They are trying hard. It's just the fact is we don't have the best officiating in this conference, and we haven't for a long time. That's the head scratcher here is, in the SEC you have the best of everything, the best people, best commissioner, best coaches. You obviously have the best players and best teams. You have the best stadiums, the biggest fan bases, the most money, the best TV package. Okay, so you have the best and most of everything in the SEC. No question. Nobody even questions it. But the other thing nobody questions is you don't have the best officiating across the league. And my thing is there's no there's no resource that's not available to the league to really make it a priority and improve it, so that you don't have things like that happen. It'll be Mississippi State this week. It'll be somebody else next week. I mean, we're cutting, we're not following the chains. We're giving people 3 downs and making them punt, So things like that have got to be better. And I don't know if it's full-time officials that are the answer, or if it's just, frankly, adding a little pressure. Pay them. We say, well, we pay them a lot of money. I say pay them more, and say, well, what comes along with this is more scrutiny. And you make twice what you're making. I don't know what the answer is, but there is an answer, and the SEC could figure it out if they make it a priority. And without here getting too long-winded on y'all, I would just tell you that, it's really just the oddest game, one of the oddest games I've ever been a part of calling, because State was dominant in just about every way in the game, except on the scoreboard, because you look up and there was a fumble that went back for a touchdown. There's that weird punt play that went for a touchdown that probably shouldn't have, and that's 14 points in what wound up being a 3-point ball game. So it's kind of hard you look at the box score, it's kind of hard to figure out how State lost.
It really is.
Yeah, and the way that they lost is tough and everything else like that. And now you're playing against an LSU team, and I'm sure Mike Leach has had to do his best to kind of circle everything back up a little bit and refocus this team this week. That's the thing. If you come out of that Memphis game, you win it, you're playing with momentum. The way that everything happened, you lose. I mean, psychologically wise, Matt, that has to be tough.
Yeah, I would think it is. I think they've probably had a tough job on their hand, at least early in the week, to go through the process of putting it behind you. It's one thing to have a meeting and say, okay, let's put it behind us, but then to actually move on from it, that could be tough. And when you consider, too, you're depending on a lot of young players, especially on offense, too, that's the first time they've been through something like that. Your quarterback, your running backs, your leading returning receivers, your left tackle, those are all, young second-year type players. And so, when you're young, I think it's doubly tough to get them to move on and put it behind you. But, I think that's why you pay coaches $5 million, right? And it's their job to figure that kind of stuff out. And truthfully, it probably does help that the next team you're playing is an LSU, and it is at home, and because then it's a little bit more right there in your face how good you're going to have to play this week if you want to get a win and not lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, no question about it, and it's the SEC opener for both of these teams. Mike Leach always seems to have a rough first year with his system, no matter where he's been, Matt, and that certainly was the case. It was up and down last year, but he got Will Rogers a lot of playing time last year. What progress have you seen from him, and kind of where is this offense headed into this matchup, at 11 a.m. on ESPN against LSU in Starkville?
Yeah, the offense has been very up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And really even more so, probably the better way to describe it is it's been all or nothing. Very schizophrenic offense so far in 3 games. And Drew, part of that is you are depending on, young players to touch the football. You know what I mean? If you don't have that senior quarterback, you don't have that senior running back, you don't have that 3rd, 4th year player at receiver. And so I think that's probably a reason why they've been so schizophrenic. So when I say all or nothing, they've had stretches of 3 and 4 series in a row where they look unstoppable and make it look easy. And here they go down the field and just do whatever they want. But then they'll turn around and have a quarter or a quarter and a half, 3 or 4 series in a row where there's no continuity, and they go on a stretch of punts. And so it's not consistent. And what Mike Leach keeps saying is, well, we're in search of consistency. And our fans are sick and tired of hearing it. They're rolling their eyes going, coach speak and consistency. But he's really telling the truth. That's the name of the game there is, even last week we talked about how, State might have gotten the game taken from them. But the fact is they had a stretch of punts in the second half. They for instance, they punted one time in the first half. They punted 4 times in the second half. So you came out of the locker room, you just had a little stretch there where you didn't get first downs, and that sort of opened the door for Memphis to do something. So they are still looking for a consistent, solid 4-quarter effort on offense. They haven't done it yet this year.
Well, obviously, they don't have much time because, LSU comes in, and this is going to be an angry LSU team, at least defensively, after last year. Now, we'll talk about the other side of the ball here in a second, but, if you're struggling on offense and you're coming up against an LSU team that wants a little bit of revenge from last year, that's not a good thing.
No, and it's also a matchup that, at least on paper, going in, Scott, really it favors LSU on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so for State, you're in offense that you're in 5 or 6-man protection pretty much the whole game, right? So what that means is, only 5 linemen. Every now and then you go 6-man protect, keep the back in there, but that's rare. So it really puts in the air raid, you really put your offensive tackles on an island a lot and tell them, hey, you're out in space by yourself. Good luck, Well, LSU is a 4-man front. To this point in 3 games, everybody you played is a 3-man defensive front. LSU is going to play a 4-man front. LSU leads the SEC in sacks. They may lead the country in sacks. They've got 19 sacks in 3 games. They're averaging over 6 sacks a ball game, right? So to me, there's the game right there. Just circle that. If I was not calling the game and didn't have to pay attention to the football, I would just turn the game on and watch the line of scrimmage, and that pass rush is going to tell you who's winning and losing. If they are teeing off on Will Rogers the way they have in the previous 3 games, LSU's pass rush, that is, then they're going to win. But if State's able to block those guys on the edge, keep a clean pocket against a 4-man rush, because after last year's experience of trying to play man-to-man and State just burned them over and over, good and well LSU's going to play a lot of zone coverage and just rush 4 guys. Well, if you're blocking them and keeping them out, then State's got a great chance to win. To me, that's the game within the game, and it's going to determine the winner and the loser. It's their pass rush against State's offensive line.
And then to switch sides, Mississippi State, when you look at the stats last week, they seemed to play solid defense. And then I thought they got a really nice win against a good NC State team that I think is probably one of the better teams in the ACC. I, frankly, had picked against Mississippi State in that game because of how they struggled against Louisiana Tech, but they put together 4 really good quarters on defense. How do you see them matching up with LSU, which really hasn't been able to run the football, Matt?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different matchup against LSU's offense than it was against NC State. NC State, more of a team that identifies as a running football team, right? They had a lot of success running the ball, and 2 backs, and a lot of veteran offensive line. A left tackle at NC State who's going to get drafted highly. So it was a different deal because this LSU team comes in here. They don't have any illusions of being able to run the ball. It's not what they do. But they do lead the league in touchdown passes. They've thrown 11, and they've had some big plays because of Butte and their talent at wide receiver. So it's a little bit of a different matchup. But here's what you need to know, Drew. This defense under Zach Arnett at State, they don't give up a lot of rushing yards. I'm talking that's like across the board. They are now, 14 games they've played now total last year and this year under Zach Arnett. 14 games. Twice they've given up over 200 yards rushing. That was both last year, once to Auburn that got like 203, and then Alabama had like 205. Okay, in 14 games, they now have 6 times in 14 games under Zach Arnett that they have allowed less than 100 yards rushing, including last week to Memphis, including 2 weeks ago against NC State. So this is a defense that has put their corners on an island. They feel like they have 2 corners who are going to play in the NFL, in Forbes and Emerson. They put them on an island, play man-to-man, and line up on the line of scrimmage and say, we're coming after you. We're going to play the run on the way to the quarterback. If you beat us throwing the ball over our head against man-to-man, we'll shake your hand after the game and congratulate you. And that's just what they're going to do. So a new quarterback in Max Johnson for LSU, he's going to get hit more in this game than he has at any point this year. It's just State's style. And Look at the Georgia game last year. State went to Georgia last year. It was J.T. Daniels' first game to play for Georgia. State held Georgia to 8 yards rushing.
Wow.
But J.T. Daniels threw for 400 yards, and a big portion of that 400 were 3 or 4 bombs they hit against man-to-man. He's throwing it as he gets hit. They're going to put it on that quarterback and make him throw it against pressure, and they'll do it again this weekend.
Matt, ultimately, your feelings and your feelings about the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I just feel like, athletically, if we look at 4s and 5 stars, there's an advantage for LSU. They've got more of them than State does, period. But it's in Starkville. It's 11 a.m. LSU is staying here in my hometown of Tupelo. Y'all know where that is. It's a good hour and 15-minute drive from Starkville. They're going to have to leave the hotel just a little before 8 a.m. to get down there, for the game. That's all an advantage for State. And State, having lost last week, feeling like they got robbed, I think they're a super motivated team. And I think it's one of those where it's going to be a close game, and State's going to find a way to win it. That's just kind of how I feel in my gut. Now, again, if LSU goes off for 8 sacks, chalk it up for them. But I think State's going to play well and find a way to win the game.
And if they do, Matt, I'm telling you, I've said this all week, it's the nail in the coffin almost for Ed Ogeron. I think he's in big trouble because they've got too many other big games ahead, and they are talented. We hear Stingley may not play in this game, but if LSU can't win this opener in the SEC, I think it spells doom for him, and I think it would be a huge win for Mike Leach.
Well, I do too, Drew, and you're right. That's exactly what will happen. That's the motivation for them, certainly, but you never know how that goes when it's so clear to a football team that, hey, if we lose this game, our coach is out here. Because in some situations, you have some players who are okay with that, and it may affect their effort. That's something to keep an eye on because, yes, if they drop this game tomorrow, he may have to catch a bus back to Baton Rouge, unfortunately. It may be what it is.
Well, Matt Wyatt will be on the call tomorrow. And, of course, later today you can hear the Matt Wyatt Show as well. And, of course, connect with his YouTube channel. Man, we always appreciate the time. Great stuff, great insight. And we thank you for joining us for a few quick minutes this morning.
All right, boys. Thank y'all. We love the Rocket City and look forward to seeing y'all again soon.
All right, thanks, Matt. Matt Wyatt helping us go to break here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines today, and we'll get you set up for another week of high school football on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got another wreck on Maston Lake. This one's reported at Buttrey. No injury reported there. Short, Pike, and Larissie did report with an injury. Also had injuries reported Parkway and Maston Lake. Got Main Street in Ardmore near State Line Road. That one's got an injury. 251 near Thatch Road turned out to be a no injury. Are you tired of the mask and hose? Dr. Sandman has the easy-to-use and easy-to-clean Somnodent oral device. Insurance approved for snoring and sleep apnea. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks, and that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So, 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Fans, the season may be over, but the fun is just getting started at Toyota Field. Coming up on October 9th will be our Beer and Wine Fest, which features over 40 samplings. On October 30th, our Trunk or Treat returns, with trick-or-treating taking place 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., with a screening of The Haunted Mansion to follow at 7:15. Finally, our Christmas Lights Show returns November the 12th and runs through January 2nd. For more information, go to trashpandasbaseball.com/events. Trash Pandas Baseball. Ignite the season.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer. ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back to Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is another week of high school football, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, you'll be able to hear the Randolph Raiders, which are the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. They're going to travel to take on Westbrook Christian this evening. You'll be able to hear that game at starting at 7 o'clock, I should say. And then coming up at 9:30, you'll be able to hear the North Alabama High School Football Scoreboard Show. That'll start on Zone 3 if that Randolph game is not completed yet. And then as soon as that is completed, we'll take you till 11 o'clock with scores and reaction from all across North Alabama. You look at a lot of teams are off this week. Some teams are playing non-region games. James Clemens is going to take on Lee tonight. Albertville is going to welcome Boaz tonight as they continue to play for that, I believe, the Marshall County title there. They play for that over there. Coleman is going to take on Mars Hill Bible. That is an interesting matchup right there.
Very interesting.
Hartzell, which is going to recognize that 2010 undefeated state championship. 2011, my bad. They're going to welcome Russellville, which is only fitting, because back in the day, those two teams would meet each other in the playoffs. It seemed like every year.
And this is the battle of unbeatens, by the way.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fantastic matchup on a Friday night.
And speaking of that, because they're off this week, Coach Bob Godsey will be going back to his former stomping grounds at Hartselle to be a part of that ceremony.
Mate Jemison will welcome Buckhorn tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Ardmore will welcome Clements. Just kind of going through some of the games. There are a lot of teams that are off.
Huntsville High will be off tonight as well.
You got a rivalry game, West Limestone, East Limestone.
Saw Jeff Pugh at the meeting with Tommy Wilcox this Wednesday. He came straight from practice. We really appreciated that. He said his team is getting better. He's got a very young squad, Scott. He's got, I want to say right now, less than 5 seniors in his program, which is amazing. The Huntsville High only has 7 available to play right now, but he's got as young a team as he's ever had. They lost a tough one against Mars Hill early, but they're starting to get it rolling. And this is a huge rivalry. West Limestone's having a good year. East is, looks like they're starting to stabilize. So that backyard brawl will be tonight.
Former Huntsville Channel Cat James Patterson, his son is the starting quarterback now for West Limestone. He's had a phenomenal start to the season up there for the Wildcats. And you and I and Steve Moulton broadcast, 2 years ago?
Yeah, we did that game over at West Limestone. And,
it was a fun night.
I started talking about East, and the response from the people in the press box was who? It's a pretty big rivalry, and as you were on the sidelines as a part of it
was getting a little feisty.
Getting a little feisty, a little heated between the coaches.
It was good. I was like, this is what a rivalry is supposed to be like. But then after the game, they shook hands, and that was it. It was great. West Morgan is at home taking on Leeds.
Yeah, and as we talked to David Lloyd yesterday when we honored the ESPN 97.7 Zone Team of the Week, the Randolph Raiders, when we honored them and gave them their $200 check courtesy of our good friends at Bryant Bank. He was Coach Lloyd was lauding Drew Phillips, the first-year head football coach of the West Morgan Rebels, coming over from the coaching staff of Cody Gross. He was with him for many years over at Athens High School. But the Rebels are 3-2, have beaten a good Raider team, the Good Hope Raiders from Coleman County. They've already beaten them, so they're off to a strong start in his first season as head coach, and they'll be a team that we're going to be watching closely. If they win this week, we might make a trip to West Morgan. They'd be a candidate. You never know.
All right, your Ryder Cup scoring right now: John Rahm, Sergio Garcia leads Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. They are 1 up through 7. Paul Casey, Victor Hovland is 1 up through 5 on Dustin Johnson and Colin Morikawa. Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger, they are 1 up through 4 on Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick. And Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele are 3 up through 3 over Rory McIlroy and Ian Poulter. So those are your Ryder Cup, I guess you could say, scoring updates up there through Whistling Straits and Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We talked a lot about the American Athletic Conference, Drew, looking at expansion. Mike Oresco saying that it possibly could come by as soon as next week by them announcing their teams. It does look like, we mentioned UAB, it'd be a perfect fit for there. It's looking like right now that Boise State, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Air Force would all be looking at making that jump to the American Athletic Conference. It looks like they're trying to stretch their limits west, and it looks like those might be the 4 teams that they are looking at expansion with. It does not include, now right now this is not a set thing, but right now it does not include UAB as a possible fit for the American Athletic Conference.
That's disappointing. I thought it would, because what Bill Clark's done with football, and they've gotten so much better so quickly. And then you have a high-profile basketball coach in Andy Kennedy. Heck, you got a pretty high-profile baseball coach now in Casey Dunn. So to me, that's disappointing that the AAC wouldn't be. And of course, the new facilities football-wise at UAB. I mean, that's just sort of disheartening there that they wouldn't invite them.
All right, final thoughts on. Let's do some final thoughts real fast. We got about a few seconds here. Final thoughts: Texas A&M, Arkansas.
I like the Hogs. I'm going with the upset. I'm going to go with Matt Wyatt, too, go with the upset LSU, and it's going to end up being a dumpster fire in Baton Rouge the rest of the season. And then, and the other big game, I'm going with Florida. I'm going with Florida, not to cover,
right?
But I think they'll win by about 14. Hopefully Mullen's not going to lay the turd, but we'll see.
You're not feeling Georgia Vanderbilt?
That'll be a massacre. 56-3.
Don't forget, we'll be at University Kia tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30 for your chance to win Alabama Ole Miss tickets. All you got to do is stop by and register. We'll announce the winner during our 1:30 to 3:30 Talking Ball show from University Kia. Don't forget Alabama Southern Miss 6:30 kick